Welcome back to Shady Conversations, where we speak the truths that most women keep tucked away. I'm your host, the Legacy Curator, Shaina Mowatt. Whether this is your first time tuning in or you've been riding with me since the beginning, this platform is all about amplifying the unspoken truths of womanhood. And today's episode is another step in that journey. Let's get into it. This is a pre-recorded episode, and so I just want to set the scene real quick. We are in holiday season, okay? And Thanksgiving just passed. Now, let's go back a little bit. Thanksgiving morning, I am having the hardest time thinking about what I'm thankful for. Not to sound ungrateful, because I really truly am thankful for a lot of things. I live a life of gratitude. I'm thankful for every new day when I wake up in the mornings. I'm thankful for my kids. I'm thankful for my man. I'm thankful for all of my family. I'm thankful for the food on the table. I'm thankful for the clothes on the back. I'm thankful for the sun in the sky, all the things. And I thank God every day, all day long. But that's like regular thankful. You know, when you say grace before you eat, and somebody always has the bright idea of everyone going around and saying what they're thankful for? I want an applaudable answer, not just the regular schmegular. Right now, it's feeling like I have the cake and it's bomb as everything, too. But where's the icing? So I'm vowing to myself that next Thanksgiving, I will have the icing on my cake. And that's a promise, because this year will not be a 2025 part 2. It's a new season, and we only doing big things with big faith, achieving big results. Shady stands for She Has an Intentional Destiny Yielding, and this platform is about shedding light on the unspoken, often messy truths of womanhood so we can not only grow, but decompress together. Today I'm opening up about my ugly 30 truth, the unraveling, the rediscovery, and the real-life transition into womanhood that nobody prepared me for. My ugly 30 truth is this era of life that I'm in right now. It's brand new in some instances, like motherhood, a decade of life, and a restart in others, like my career after hitting pause. There's new and rekindled relationships, just relearning and reshaping me. It's not about being ugly in appearance. It's about the hard, uncomfortable, yet freeing truths that emerge as I grow into her. Shady Conversations really sparked from my Ugly 30 Truth vlog that I have on YouTube on the That's So Shaina page. Um, that was just me documenting my restart. And then as I was going through my journey, I started having conversations with different women who was living the same ghetto life that I was living. So I was like, why do we not have more of these conversations? There's certain things that I experienced in life, and I feel like I'm the only one that has ever happened to, or maybe it's just a burden to share it with somebody else. Come to find out, my sister sitting next to me every day dealt with something like this, or my cousin, or my best friend, or even a stranger. I remember sitting down at lunch with a new agent, and it was just so natural. We were just talking about life, and I was like, girl, you've been through that too? And that's really why I felt like I needed to create a space where we could have these conversations and just live shamelessly in the things that we've been through. So today I want to share with you guys some of the ugly 30 truths that I have revealed in my life. The first one is grief has no expiration date. Okay, I know that sounds cliche. Everybody says it. But when you start to experience it for yourself and you're not exactly sure why you're still having these feelings, that cliche saying starts to feel all too real. There's different ways to grieve, and I grieved 3 people in my life. Grieving doesn't always have to look like somebody passing away. However, for me, that's exactly what it looks like. I grieved 3 people in my life. The first person is my mom. She passed away in 2008. I was 14 years old, and that was the hardest thing that I've ever experienced. I feel like the rest of my adolescent life, young adult life, I just didn't have a mom. I know I had a mom. I know she loved me. I knew who she was. She was such an amazing person. But I did feel like I had to do a lot of growing up on my own, mostly because I didn't want to talk about certain things with other people. I wanted to talk about it with my mom. But me being the person that I am, I'm strong. I'm going to deal with it myself. I'm going to figure out life for myself. So, of course, on anniversaries, birthdays, big days, things like that, you start to feel it again. That's very common. A lot of my grief really started to resurface when I became a mother myself, because I started to think about things like, what if I pass away before my kids don't need me anymore? Like like how I felt about my mom passing away. I felt like I still needed to be mothered. I didn't want to leave my kids too soon. Another instance with me having kids, I wanted my mom to meet my kids. I also experienced a lot of friends who were having kids around that time and their mom was in the hospital with them, or their mom came and stayed some time with them while they transitioned into this motherhood era of life. And I didn't have that. So, yeah, grief does not expire. It just goes on, and you have to find a way to cope with it. And then in another era of life, you're going to have to find a new way to cope with it. Another person that I grieve is my grandfather, Dada. I love him so much. He actually passed away during COVID. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to the funeral. But I always say that my grandfather was my first love. You know how, your dad is your first love. And I do love my dad. But my dad, he was just such a calm, compassionate person. I've never, ever met a soul like him again. So I still grieve him to this day because losing a presence like that and knowing that you'll never, ever feel that again, it's sad. And then there's Katie, my cousin, who passed away in 2023, more recently. I grieve her every day as well because she was another beautiful soul. And she was my best friend. And we would talk every day. We would share recipes. We would cook dinner together on FaceTime. We would grocery shop so that we could cook dinner together on FaceTime. She's another one of those people where it's like, you will just never have this connection again. And I was grieving her in a time where I was grieving her strongly during postpartum because she passed away shortly after I had my twins. I felt like I was experiencing this, but I didn't have my mom. I didn't have my best friend. It was just hard. What I did learn is that you have to allow yourself to feel the feels when they come. But you only have 30 minutes. You got to get yourself up and you got to get yourself together. Losing Katie in 2023 made me resurface even more feelings about losing my mom in 2008 and losing my grandfather in 2019. I'm just saying that to say that grief is a cycle, but you can definitely overcome it. But you have to recognize that you're grieving. Otherwise, that grief is going to start trickling over into other aspects of your life. Don't worry, sis. If you're out there grieving, you are not in this alone. This episode is brought to you by me, your legacy curator, Shaina Mowatt. I'm not just here to talk about growth, identity, and purpose. I help you build the life you're praying for in real time. As a real estate professional, mortgage originator, and financial strategist, I guide individuals and families through the decisions that shape legacy. From purchasing a home to restructuring debt, to creating a financial plan that feels doable, intentional, and God-led. Whether you're buying your first home, trying to understand what you can actually qualify for, wanting to utilize real estate as a wealth building tool, preparing for a new season financially, or just tired of trying to figure it out alone, I'm here to help you move from overwhelmed to over-prepared. If you're ready to stop guessing and start building, you can connect with me directly at yourlegacycurator.com or click the link in the show notes. Because legacy isn't something you leave behind, it's something you're building right now. All right, back to the episode. Okay, let's lighten the mood a little bit. Another ugly 30 truth that I had to come to terms with is my social hourglass. I have a social hourglass, not a whole clock. I don't have 24 hours for you. I have an hour. And the reason why this was so important to realize is because as an entrepreneur, I'm always trying to network and meet people and serve people because that's what we do. We find problems, we fix them. But we are catering to the community, catering to our families, catering to other people all the time. I just don't have the capacity to do that mentally, emotionally. So as I'm out and about networking, I will be talking to somebody and I will literally just start to feel myself going to this show. And I'm like, come on, Shaina, that's not you. You're a bubbly person. You're very outgoing. You love to be social. I think recognizing that I do have a social hourglass and that I do need to call it quits sometimes and that I do need to just take a minute to breathe and be by myself, go home. Just go home. We're done here. I think that made me stronger in building real, genuine relationships because I wasn't forcing myself to show up for other people. I showed up for other people in my best version of me. I showed up when I had the capacity to do so. Recognizing this has freed me from overextending myself for the benefit of others. If this is resonating with you, free yourself too. Which leads me to my next ugly 30 truth. As a woman, you are to present and not pursue. Now, this is another cliche saying. In a sense, it sounds cliche, anyways, but a lot of people don't recognize the power in that. Whether it's in dating or if it's at a business meeting, whatever the case is, you need to just show up as your best self, and the right people will accept you for who you are. And if they can't accept who you are, then they don't deserve you anyways. And with that being said, you have to be so sure of yourself that when you show up in any environment, you're bringing all of you, and you know that all of you is plenty to offer. I was listening to Spicy Mari, and she has this activity that she does, the pizza activity. Some of you guys might know it, some of you guys might not. If you don't, check her out because, of course, she can explain it best. But basically, on a pizza, you have your crust, your sauce, and your toppings. The crust is what makes you a good person. The sauce is how do you show love. And the toppings is what makes you physically, sexually attractive. Okay, girls. So I decided after hearing her talk about this, I wanted to try by myself. So, what makes me a good person, I believe, is that I'm God fearing, honest. I'm honest. I'm not always empathetic. And that can kind of be harsh on other people. Because if you come to me with something and it just sounds ridiculous to me, I'm going to let you know. So, my honesty, you kind of got to take it with love and know that it's coming from a good place. And then I'm also welcoming. Now, I'm welcoming, but I am not all inclusive. So if you don't fit the bill, you cannot get in the club, honey. The sauce about me, how do I show love? I'm a curator. So I'm a problem solver. I'm a visionary with a plan, whether someone follows it or not. But if you come to me with an issue in your life, I'm going to give you options on how to fix that or how I can help you fix that. And if I can't help you fix that, here's how you can do it by yourself. You're going to have to take the initiative, but I am a problem solver and I pride myself on that. I'm also very supportive. And when I say supportive, sometimes it's hard for me to actually reach out to people. But when somebody tells me that they need me, or if they're having an event, I will physically show up for you. I will find time to come see you. I will shower you with gifts if I can. And I'm just going to support you wholeheartedly because I want nothing but the best for not just people around me in the day to day, but anybody who encounters me. Like, I want you to feel supported in all that you do, unless you're a bad person. It's like, nah. Okay, really, you're supposed to come up with 3, but I only have 2 for sauce. So let's move on to toppings. What makes you physically, sexually attractive? Now, this is actually really hard for me postpartum because I feel like I'm trying to relearn this mom bottomy, but we have to keep it physical. I can't just tell you guys, oh, I'm a great person. That's not physically, sexually attractive. One thing's for sure is my smile. And that's not just because people compliment me on my smile all the time, but I like my smile. I genuinely like my smile. And then also my eyes. People tell me all the time that I have great eye contact. Now, the only thing about my eyes that I don't like is that I have short eyelashes, but I do like to emphasize on it because I'm going to be looking you in your eyes and I want you to look me in my eyes. So I'll put my lashes on and things like that. And yeah, I'll use my eye contact. I'll use my eyes to kind of, capture you. And then thirdly, what makes me physically sexually attractive? I'm a lock queen, so I'm gonna say my hair. And I love when I get like that fresh bleach blonde on my hair. I'm always I think I was supposed to be born blonde because Don't get me wrong, I love the natural state. I love my hair, period. But the blonde just fits me so well. So right now, I'm going to say my hair. In 5 or 10 years, these three features could not be my favorite no more. It could be something else. But right now, it's my smile, my eyes, and my hair. I highly encourage you guys to do this activity for yourself. Either head over to Spicy Mari or, just grab a piece of paper and figure out your pizza, your crust, what makes you a good person, your sauce, how do you show love, and your toppings, what makes you physically, sexually attractive. I sat down to do this and I did not think coming up with 3 things for each category would be so hard. And you have to really be honest with yourself. And that's hard for a lot of us to do. But yeah, I think you guys should try it out. Hey, investors and future moguls. Looking to grow your real estate network and learn from active deal makers right here in Maryland? Well, your host, the Legacy Curator, Shaina Mowatt, and my team at First Step Financial Services have launched a Real Estate Investors Club. This is not your average sit and take notes meetup. Nah, this is real conversations, real strategies, real funding, and real deal makers linking up in real time. Whether you're just curious or you're ready to lock in your first flip, your first rental, or you true to this and not new to this, you can join us once a month in Columbia, Maryland. We're not just teaching real estate, we're creating a network of investors who look out for each other and win together. The wealth you want is built in rooms like this. Learn, network, invest. Find us on Instagram at That's So Shaina or at You Take the First Step to be notified on our next meetup. All right, back to the episode. More ugly 30 truths that I had to come to terms with is my trauma responses. I get so irritated hearing people talk about their childhood trauma and things like that. Like, okay, we've all been through things as kids, and I'm not trying to downplay anything that people are working through right now. I think for me, what's more important is how you respond to trauma and not the trauma that's keeping you down. I've never had a problem with wanting to be liked or wanting to belong. I could care less. No, I couldn't care less. Let me say that right. My triggers are more so conflict, and if you disrupt my peace, you gotta go. I grew up in a household where it was very much what happens at home stays at home, and we love each other regardless. But mentally, that ended at the door for sure. That was the only place that I could accept that. So, in other aspects of my life, when I feel triggered, my go to is to disconnect. I cut people off really, really quickly. Now, this has recently been tested in my life, and it's something that I'm still working through, and it's also a conversation for another time. But we got a lot of episodes to go, so y'all gonna hear about it. But let's not get off track. I learned that my trauma response of disconnecting is my way of never having to work through hurt. I just close the door and I don't reopen it. So in this particular instance, I'm working through keeping the door open and living a honestly peaceful life. The trauma response of disconnecting is really just like the band-aid over the cut you got from scraping your knee. You don't have to look at it no more. It heals. Well, you think it heals. It really just scabs over. And you move on though, because it's not an open wound. Ooh, that's deep, y'all. Okay, my other trauma response is to pivot. Now, pivoting can be a healthy trauma response because I'm not giving up. I'm just readjusting course. A fear of mine is staying put when I should have moved, but sometimes I should have just simply stayed put. Learning to be still is my way of avoiding my trauma response of pivoting. All right, you guys, let me know in the comments what your trauma responses is. And again, trauma responses can be healthy in their own way, but sometimes they're actually affecting you in a negative way. So drop a comment, let me know what your trauma response is. Maybe I can relate to it. Maybe somebody else can relate to it and they never knew. The next ugly 30 truth that I'm going to touch on is postpartum because postpartum is real. Shout out to all the mommies out there. And it doesn't have to necessarily be postpartum depression, but life after birth is a new way of life, period. We all have to adjust. I truly believe that we're shaped by our experiences, but some experiences change you forever, whether it's for the better or for the worse. The biggest part about postpartum is learning how to show yourself some grace, learning how to work through anxiety, and learning how to continue to show up, not just for your kids, but for yourself. I also feel like this is a conversation that I want to have with more mommies. So I'm not going to do too much right here. We're going to leave it right there and move on to the next one. The next ugly 30 truth is the pressure to have it all together. Why would y'all put that pressure on us? So, contrary to how easy I make it look or whatever, or at least so I've been told plenty of times, none of us have it all together. But there is this pressure to have it all together, especially when outsiders are constantly saying so. I want to have some real talk with you guys. So please drop a comment, DM me, find me, text me, whatever the case is. What truth are you carrying that feels too ugly to say out loud? Or what part of you have you been grieving in silence? Let's talk about it, y'all. Your destiny is still intact even when it feels like everything else is falling apart. You're shady for a reason. As we wrap things up, I just want to thank all of today's listeners for sharing space with me today. If today's conversation spoke to you, I hope you give yourself permission to sit with it, speak on it, and heal through it. Remember, she has an intentional destiny yielding, and this journey, it's yours to own. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on Instagram and YouTube at That's Some Shaina. If you're ready to be a guest or a sponsor, tap in. We're building this platform together. And if you feel led, please share this conversation with a sister who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay shady, stay grounded, and keep the conversations going.